Okay, everyone, we are going to go ahead and get started. First off, welcome to our May Down the Hill Leaders Meeting for Lost Valley Summer Camp. We are very, very excited to have you. Tonight, we are in a webinar style format, which we are very excited to do. And what that means is y'all will be using the Q&A function of the webinar. So you should see a tab to go ahead and put your questions in that Q&A feature. We will get to those at the very end once we have gone through our slides and answer any questions that you have. As with the other meetings, we will also be recording this webinar. And once we have done the Thursday webinar, we will splice those two recordings together and then post them online and email y'all once that has been posted as well. So to start off, we are going to introduce our team. My name is Tori Harris. I have the privilege of serving as the camp director this summer at Lost Valley Summer Camp.
My name is Sarah Lindmark. I am really excited to be this summer's program director at Lost Valley.
And I am Bijan. I will be your assistant camp director this summer. Tonight's topics, the things that we're going to cover for you include a COVID-19 update as always and payment schedule reminder. We're going to talk about your campsite, what it's going to look like to be in your campsite and what things are going to be in your campsite. We're also going to discuss Campers Campfire, what that will look like for you, how you sign up, what it is. We are going to do check-in tonight and talk about the road and getting into camp and what your check-in day on Sunday will look like. We are going to talk a little bit and a lot about SPLs in camp. We have a specific slide about SPLs, but a lot of the things on this PowerPoint tonight are oriented or important for your SPLs. So hopefully they're here with us. And if they aren't here with us, you're welcome to invite them on Thursday, or you can share this video with them. We have a packing list. There is a link to our packing list, as well as some additional packing list things we want to share with you. Opportunities for service in camp, how service projects are going to work, how you sign up for one. Emergency procedures, and just the basics. So the things that we think you need to know now about our camp emergency procedures, and then getting mail into camp are the things we're going to talk about tonight.
All right, our COVID-19 update is not an update, but just a talking again about it. So we do not anticipate the use of mass pre-camp testing or cohorts. Of course, if your troop wants to do any of those things, that is okay. We do ask that all campers, adults and youth, go through the pre-event screening for the BSA. The QR code links to that. That is an event screening for any event that the BSA puts on, and it really makes sure that we are not bringing anyone that is sick to camp, whether it's COVID, the cold, anything like that. We do not want you to come to camp if you are sick. We want you at camp, but not if you're sick, just because we want to keep everyone safe. So we ask that everyone go ahead and look through that pre-event screening, adults and units, make sure that your kids and your assistant scoutmasters and adults are filling that out before they come to camp. And then once we're at camp, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in check-in, we'll be going through a medical recheck with your med form and asking some of those questions as well. Are you feeling okay? Anything like that, just to make sure we are keeping all our campers safe when you're here. All right, on to our payment schedule. So our final payment just passed May 17th. So if you have not already made that final payment, please go on to 24/7 Scouting or scoutingevent.com, I think is what y'all see, to make those final payments as well as your adult payments. If y'all need any assistance with payments, go ahead and email summercamp@ssrlv.org or outdoor@ocbsa.org, and we would be happy to assist you with those payments. If you have any scouts that need a campership for this summer, please go ahead and follow that QR code to our campership form. We do not want any scouts to not attend summer camp for financial reasons. We want to make sure anybody and everybody can come to summer camp. So if you do have scouts that need a little assistance, please make sure they fill out the campership form. All right, so we've been getting a lot of questions about our merit badge signups, and we have looked at our classes, and we know now that we're going to add some more space to our dirty jobs classes, which is specifically metalworking and welding, as well as to a few of our handicraft classes that have filled up. We are still looking at our reports as they come in, and we'll add classes and do what we can to make sure kids that are on the wait list are getting in. We're going to do our best as we can. So this week we're working on those dirty job classes and the handicraft classes. Once we have updated those and put those on the wait list in, then we will go ahead and send an email and then let y'all know if more classes have opened up as well, so you can sign up your kids.
Alrighty, campsites. So if you have never been to Lost Valley, you will be staying in a campsite that is very naturey. There will be trees and there will be dirt and there will be lots of naturey things in your campsite. I say this to give you the very outdoor feeling that you're going to be living in. The list on your screen will have all of the things that you'll have access to that we will provide for you in your campsite. So a broom, shovel, and a rake will be there. Each campsite has a fire ring, some tables, a hose, and then an information board, which we will have stapled some papers that we think are going to be useful for you. If you have additional troop papers or you want to put up schedules or other things for your unit, you're welcome to use that board for that. And then there is a flagpole if your troop has decided to raise their troop flag or wants to put their own American flag up or anything that they would like in camp. With the fire ring, there is a fire ring, but please check with us when you get to camp prior to using it. Depending on the weather and various other conditions, fires may or may not be allowed in camp. If they are allowed in camp, we will have wood for you. Do not bring any wood into camp, please. I promise you we have a lot of wood. We have a lot of wood that we would love to share with you if we're able to have fires. Campsite inspections. So we do campsite inspections to give your troop the opportunity to grow as a unit. Campsite inspections are not meant to belittle you or grade you harshly or make you do things that you don't want to do. If you don't want to participate in campsite inspections, you don't have to. But if you do, we will have a team coming around doing campsite inspections Tuesday through Thursday, and they're going to grade on cleanliness, organization, safety, and campsite improvements. As a unit leader, I find campsite inspections are a really good way to get my scouts motivated to do the things that we're supposed to be doing in our campsite, like keeping it clean and organized and safe. So you can use that as a motivation to win. People like to win and be in competition, and there will be a prize at the end of the week for campsite inspections. On June 1st, we will be releasing campsite assignments. So you will know by then which campsite you're going to be in, and you can start letting your unit know so they can look at the map and get oriented with how they're going to get into camp. And that is all on campsites. If you guys all have any questions, you are welcome to put them in the Q&A feature. There's a little button at the bottom of your screen that says Q&A, and you can drop a question in there, and we will be able to respond via text and verbally to you at the end of our meeting.
So every Wednesday night, we do what's called Campers Campfire. Now, Campers Campfire begins after the campsite cooking event, which we talked about a few meetings ago. Campers Campfire is a lot of fun. It gives you and your scouts a chance to put on a show for all of the other campers in camp. If you or your scouts are interested in leading a skit or song for Campers Campfire, the best time to sign up is at the Wednesday lunch SPL meeting. So on Wednesday at lunch, your senior patrol leader can come out to the veranda of Beckman Hall and speak with camp leadership to get those signups put together. At Campers Campfire, we love both skits and songs, either or, and we do hold Campers Campfire at the big, beautiful, official Campfire Bowl. So highly recommend. It's really fun.
Okay, so check-in. You will be checking in on Sunday with us at camp, whichever Sunday your week is starting with. Please note, there is a 10-mile dirt road to adventure that leads into our camp. If you have not been to Lost Valley, it is 10 miles of dirt road that lead into camp. So there will be a staff member that will greet you at the start of the road. As you turn off on the pavement, there will be a bunch of mailboxes and then a dirt road split, and our staff member will be there to get you on the right road, give you directions and a little bit of encouragement along the way. Check-in starts at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Your troop will be assigned or can sign up, request a check-in window about 2 weeks in advance. We will be in touch with you on how that's going to work, but we're trying to stagger check-in so that it's a little bit easier for you and a little bit more effective for us. Your troop guide will meet you at the gate as you come into camp. So after you have traveled down our 10-mile dirt road into camp, you will get to a gate and there will be a staff member there to give you directions to your campsite, a map, and a couple other things. Check-ins, once you get settled into your campsite, will include a medical recheck by one of our staff members, a tour of the important parts of camp, and swim checks. If your unit has already done swim checks ahead of time, please make sure you bring us your unit swim verification roster, which I have just dropped the link to in the chat. That is also available on our website, ssrlv.org, under summer camp and leader links. You're welcome to do swim checks ahead of time and bring them to camp with you. That way you do not have to do them on Sunday. Please note, our aquatics director does reserve the right to retest any scouts that they feel do not currently meet that classification. I think those are all the important things on Sunday check-in. If you have questions, drop them in the question and answers section.
Okay, so talking about our SPLs, we at Lost Highway fully believe that we want to use our SPLs to help us and to help all our troops operate effectively and efficiently. So as SPLs, we are hoping that y'all are helping make sure kids are ready for camp. If your troop is doing a shakedown before summer camp, they're helping to lead that to make sure our scouts are packing the right things using the packing list in the previous slide. And then during camp, there are several meetings that our SPLs attend on Sunday afternoon with the Scoutmasters. We have a formal meeting of getting to know the management staff, as well as going over any emergency procedures, any changes to the schedule, if there are any program updates, anything like that. That happens on Sunday. And then every day during lunch, Monday through Thursday, the SPLs will meet with Jacob, one of our assistant camp directors, and go over how the week is going, if there are any needs in the campsite, if there are any needs and assistance that the camp needs to give to the troop or to the SPL to make them more effective in their role. That all happens at lunch, as well as Campers Campfire information will happen at lunch and evening program signups. So the SPLs are in charge of making sure that if the troop or the not den, that's the wrong one, patrol are doing any evening signups, then they handle that Monday at the SPL meeting. And then if there are any updates for that, they can come each day and also do that during the SPL meeting. So as I said, Monday through Thursday at lunch, and then Friday breakfast, there will be an SPL meeting as well. SPL expectations, we hope that y'all are staying informed with the camp, checking in with Jacob. SPLs can talk to any staff member, but their person will be Jacob, our assistant camp director. So if they have any needs, any behavioral challenges, anything like that, Jacob is born and raised in Orange County and has been an SPL multiple times for his troop and for NYLT. So he would be happy to help with those.
So there is a packing list for all of our campers. It applies to both adults and youth campers, available at our website, ssrlv.org under summer camp. There are a couple things on this packing list that I really want to highlight. For one, highly recommend bringing a camp chair. It's really nice having your own chair and a campsite so that you all don't have to pack into our little picnic tables in the campsites. I want to reinforce as well, this is the case for any BSA summer camp, you must wear closed-toed shoes at all times, and this includes adult leaders. And when I say closed-toed shoes, I mean closed toe and closed heel. Okay, so Crocs, for example, do not count as closed-toed shoes. We also recommend, on the other hand, that you bring shower shoes for when you shower inside of the shower house. Crocs make excellent shower shoes, But shower shoes can only be worn when inside the shower house. That means you must be wearing your closed-toed and closed-heeled shoes when you're walking to the shower. Once you're in the shower house, you can then change into your shower shoes. We recommend that everyone brings their full Scout uniform, so a full field uniform and an activity uniform of some kind. Scouts are not required to wear a complete activity uniform during the week, and at assemblies, we recommend that Scouts wear their field uniform, but that is not required either, and it's for specifically dinner assembly. It's really, really important that all of your Scouts come prepared with their medical forms, their program consent forms, and or their shooting sports consent forms, if those programs apply to them, if they signed up for them or want to participate in them. If your medical forms, I'm reinforcing, we've mentioned this a couple times, but really important, adults and youth, everybody coming to camp has to have medical forms A, B, and C filled out in their entirety. The C form needs to be signed by a physician, an actual medical physician. Your consent forms are for our youth participants. They need to be signed by a guardian. Something that isn't on our camp packing list that I wanted to mention, this is very, very fun, but totally optional. At assemblies, all the staff participate in theme days, and we love it when troops come up and participate in these theme days with us. So on Mondays, we do more sleep, so we all kind of wear our sleepwear, like pajamas and stuff. On Tuesdays, our theme is to the nines. So for example, our shooting sports director is going to be wearing a tux and a top hat. Can't wait. On Wednesdays, we do Wacky Hat Wednesday. Thursday, we wear tie-dye, so your best tie-dye gear, whether that be a t-shirt, bandana, shorts, whatever. On Fridays, we call it Flashback Friday. For the staff, for assemblies, we usually wear old staff t-shirts or old camp gear. Some of our staff in the past have had antique or historic, or maybe I guess you could say vintage Scout uniforms. I don't know which word for that makes the most sense. For you all, you're welcome to interpret Flashback Friday however you like. And then on Saturday, we wear silly socks. So those first 4 bullet points, camp chair, highly recommended, of course not required. Closed-toed shoes, absolutely required. Full Scout uniform, highly recommended. Medical forms and consent forms, totally required. Theme days, really fun, highly recommended. If you are curious about this full packing list, you can follow the QR code on the screen. Oh yes, in camp we have plenty of service opportunities for adults, troops, patrols, whatever division of yourselves. If you have any group or individual that would like service hours, and these can count for actual community service hours, please do be in touch with us. We always have stuff we can get done in camp. And our summer camp, I think every BSA summer camp I have ever encountered in any way runs on service. Right. Service opportunities for us are things like trail clearing. We always need trail maintenance, painting. We always need stuff repainted. And then we have varying service projects by size. If you want to spend 2 hours doing a service project, we can use you. If you want to spend 4 days out of the week getting service hours, we can use that too. For this first bullet point, tradespeople, what we mean there is that if you have skills in a particular trade, like plumbing, electrician work, like electricity, if you know how to weld, if you're really good at working on cars or vehicles or engines, all of these things are incredibly useful to us at camp. We would love it if you reached out to our ranger, who is also our head of maintenance for the council, Justin. His email is justin@ssrlv.org. Once again, do let us know ahead of time if you plan to do a service project so we can actually have one ready for you. It helps us make sure we're prioritizing our service projects and most important to least important, and also gives us an idea of how much service you would like to do.
Okay, and now's the time for emergency procedures. I'm going to try and keep it a little bit short as we will review most of this in camp with you, but these are things that we think that you need to know ahead of time. So we have said that there is no cell phone service in camp. We do not have any kind of cell phone service. There is Wi-Fi. We also, though, have the ability to communicate with the outside world, even if the Wi-Fi goes down. So we have satellite phones and various other methods of communication that we are able to communicate with emergency services or unit leaders or parents if we need to, if something were to happen in camp and say the Wi-Fi is down. Every Monday, so when you arrive at camp, the Monday that you are there, we will have a fire drill, which will include you and everyone in camp. Everybody will come together during fire drill time and participate in a drill so that everybody is on the same page with how it would work if we were to call people together for any reason. When you arrive in camp, we're also going to be collecting car counts and seatbelt counts. What that allows us to do is know how many cars we're going to have staying in camp and how many seatbelts are available to us if for some reason we need to leave camp during the middle of the week. There are various different kinds of emergencies or medical needs that may arrive in our camp. And as I said, we do have a 10-mile dirt road that leads into camp. And so that makes it a little bit challenging and different to get emergency services into camp. We will have a health officer on call, on site, and on duty at all times during camp. We also have access to fire and EMS services. The fastest and best way for us to get help into camp is by helicopter. So if we have an emergency that requires that person to leave camp in an emergent way, we're going to be calling a helicopter that will land in our meadow, and our team will assist that team in getting the person out of camp. If we need somebody to go out of camp in a less emergent way, for an example, if we have a arm that we suspect may be broken due to an accident, I'm most likely not going to fly somebody out of camp for that reason. It's going to be expensive and traumatic experience, unless you really like helicopters, and it's going to be super cool. But we can drive people out of camp. Your unit leaders can take that scout or adult out of camp via the road. We also will have the fire department or ambulance come into camp to provide services if that's needed. It just does take them quite some time and is generally easier for us to either meet them at the start of the dirt road or to even drive all the way into urgent care or the hospital, whatever is needed. Our staff are going to be fully trained and versed in emergencies in camp and how we get people out of camp. I promise y'all, we are really good at this. Hopefully we're not going to need it this summer, but our team is efficient at getting people out of camp or summoning emergency services and or handling what we need to handle because of where we're located. Hazardous weather. Because of where we're located in this really lovely valley, we do have weather and different kinds of weather. The first weather I'm going to point out is heat. We get heat sometimes. It gets very hot. So you're going to need to drink water and do those things. It also rains at various random times because it's California. So I would be prepared. I would come to camp prepared to be anywhere from very hot to drenched in rain and everywhere in between. You may want to bring rain gear. You may want to bring shoes that are waterproof. You may want to bring an umbrella. You may also want to bring a t-shirt and sunscreen and all of those things. Our staff will let you know if for whatever reason it's raining and we need to adjust program a little bit. Our staff will let you know what that's going to look like and where you should go. If there's lightning, if there's wind, if there is all of that, we will communicate with you during the time of camp to keep you safe, as well as to continue to run program for your scouts and adults.
All right. Thank you, Bijan, for that. I do want to say we wanted to go over emergency procedures, not because we think anything is going to happen, but because we want to be prepared. I don't know if you've heard that saying before, but that is very important to us. So we wanted to go over that. Okay, so for mail, scouts are more than welcome to receive mail or adult leaders, all good. So if you want to send a package to Lost Valley, please be sure to put the participant's name and troop number, and then their campsite name and week of camp. If you don't know the specific week, like what number we would call it, go ahead and put the dates there, and then put the address. We suggest that all mail coming to a camper comes at least 2 weeks before they arrive. just because we want to make sure they get it. And so the worst thing that can happen is y'all leave on Saturday and we pick up the mail on Saturday, and a scout from that week received a package. So if you send it early, we will hold on to it and then do a mail call, and they will receive it then too. Mail, you can also send up with adult leaders. We've seen it before where adult leaders bring up all the mail, and on Monday they deliver it this day, Tuesday they deliver it this day, Wednesday, all that kind of good stuff. I will say with mail, it is very exciting, very fun. But if you have any campers that are sometimes prone to homesickness, mail can be hard to receive because that does remind them of home. And so think about that as adult leader, as leaders for the troop. If you think a scout would do better not receiving mail, maybe talk to those parents, maybe talk as a troop about whether or not you're going to do that. That is up to the troop to make that decision. We will give the mail to the leaders to then pass out to the scouts. But that is something to think about, that sometimes homesickness does come into play when they are reminded of home and get a letter from their parents or guardians.
I have a couple more reminders to go over here, just some basic things about camp that you all might want to know. First of all, it's really, really important that you fill up with gas for your vehicle or charge electric vehicles in Temecula, which is the last big city before you arrive at camp. We do not have gasoline to distribute when we're in camp. We do not have EV charging stations, and we do not have any electric vehicle adapters in camp. So just please do keep that in mind. Keep in mind as well that your troop will be cooking for yourselves on Wednesday night. So feel free to bring up any spices, any extra little things that you might need. We provide you with food. We provide you with salt and pepper. We provide you with tin foil, cooking utensils, and charcoal, everything you need. But if your troop likes to do any particular mealtime activities or has a special spice that you like to bring, which did happen once. That was a thing it was fun. Yeah, you're welcome. Please do remember to bring that stuff. We have no cell coverage. I'm going to say no cell coverage. One time, a friend of mine got cell coverage, got like a text message while next to one of the flagpoles, like one time. And I've worked at camp for 11 years. So I'm going to say no cell coverage. Don't count on it. We do have Wi-Fi, however, in many of the buildings at camp. It is available, however, only to adult leaders, only to adults. We do not give the Wi-Fi password out to youth. And if a youth gets the Wi-Fi password, we change it very quickly. Yeah, we are at the end of a 10-mile road to adventure. I love the dirt road. It is so fun. And I think there's a lot of hype about it. I don't think you need to be as hyped as we tend to hype you up over. It is recommended that you drive vehicles that have reasonably high ground clearance. You can absolutely make it using a normal vehicle. Another good friend of mine drove a Honda Civic for like 3 years up and down the road, and it was perfectly fine, right? Bijan and I were just at camp this past weekend, and he drives a Nissan Altima. So it's okay to drive normal passenger family cars, but sometimes we say it's a little bit easier on your car if you bring one with higher ground clearance. Bikes are great. We love bikes. Have your scouts bring their bikes. It's so fun to bike in camp. However, when they do bring their bikes, make absolutely sure that you have a helmet, as Tori is beautifully demonstrating. And in camp, everyone has to be wearing a helmet. That includes adult leaders, right? So if you all want to bring your bikes, please do, but you have to have a helmet on the whole time. And then lastly, for your medical forms, it's not just A, B, it's all three, A, B, and C. And the C part of the form has to be signed by a medical physician. Cool.
Okay, here is the end of our meeting where I tell you what we're going to talk about next time. For our future meeting, we're going to talk about bikes in camp a little bit more, dietary restrictions. We will introduce our staff. We'll give you some program updates and recaps. We're going to talk about the trading post, check out on Saturday, and blue card party. We did talk about a couple of these things in the past. Some of them we just want to remind you of, and some of them we're going to expand on a little bit. Our next meetings are June 19th and 23rd. That is again a Sunday and Thursday. And we will be coming to you from camp during that time. So all of us will be up at camp getting prepared for your arrival. And maybe we'll have a cool background, who knows, of the meadow or something while we're at camp. But we would love it if you joined us either Sunday or Thursday in June for our meeting. And now it's time for Q&A. If you have not already, you can put your questions in the Q&A section and one of us will answer them. Most of the questions we're just going to answer verbally to you. Some of them we might type an answer so that everybody can see it. But we're going to answer your questions until you have no more questions, and then we will end our meeting.
I'm going to jump in with the first two. We have a couple questions on campsites. So when campsites are released, will you know how many tents will be available in that campsite? Yes. So campsites are being decided by the amount of participants you are bringing. And then once we assign your campsite, we'll say, okay, Hidden Creek is troop 1, and there are 42 spots in that campsite. So then you'll know how many spots are in there, and then it's 2 per tent, so that'll be 21 tents for that. So we will release the campsite name with your troop number with its capacity in there as well. We have a question on swim checks going to the IROC. We're still trying to finalize that. The IROC is a busy place, as are some of our lifeguards, so we're trying to work that out. Hopefully within the next week or so, we'll have a final answer on if we can accommodate doing swim checks at the OAC.
I can take the cell signal. So once again, I want to reiterate here, there is no cell signal in camp. You will not have data. You will not have cellular service. We do have Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is available in certain buildings. Sometimes you can get the Wi-Fi signal slightly outside of or around the building, right? Like on the porch of Beckman Hall, for example. I think there's a pretty good Wi-Fi signal over there, but there is no cell service. Do not anticipate having cell service because you will not get it. It's not there.
Okay, we have a question on medical flights. Do you know the destination to Temecula Valley Hospital or somewhere in SD? So it has typically been Palomar is where we've sent some people sent some people to. It also depends on the condition and what we are sending them out for. We have sent someone out for a heart condition or versus a spinal condition, and they went to, that was 2 different people, and they ended up going to 2 different places based on the need of their medical emergency. So typically it's been Palomar Hospital is the one we typically usually send to. Bijan, do you have anything else on that?
There are 2 different medical air providers that are about the same distance from our camp. So when we call the dispatch center, they send whoever one is closest or available or for that. So just as Tori said, it kind of depends on where they come from. It also sometimes depends on whether there may be a weather condition in one region that requires them to route to the other place. So there are options. We just don't have an answer yet.
Yep. And so if and when we have to fly someone out, we'll hear back from the dispatch center, CAL FIRE, and they'll tell us where they're going. And then when we follow up with the guardians and troop leadership and all that kind of stuff, we'll then let them know.
Cool. For the question by Joey Fimbris, our Class A is required to be worn at meals. Class A is also known as field uniforms, are required to be worn for dinner assembly and for the dinner meal. For breakfast or for morning assembly, not so much. And when we say required, it's not actually required. No one is getting kicked out of camp for that. No one is getting, I guess it's more of a highly recommended type thing. Tori, do you want to clarify the policy on that?
That is correct. We don't want, if you have youth or adults that don't have a field uniform, we're not going to say you cannot be here because you don't have this uniform. That's not what we do here at the Valley. But we do want, if you do have that field uniform or as complete of a field uniform as your troop or your participants have, please wear those to dinner assembly and dinner. Mm-hmm. Question on providing cots. Yes, so each tent will have 2 cots in it. And those are provided by the camp.
To request an early check-in, you can email us at summercamp@ssrlv.org. Oh, sorry, not an early check-in, a not so early check-in, a quite late check-in. You can also email us at summercamp@ssrlv.org. I think that email address is still up in the chat for you. And we will confirm that late check-in and we will be ready for you. Adults can absolutely bring their own tents if you would like to. You are welcome to do so that, you know, we do provide tents for everyone, including adult leaders. And then, sorry, I'm going through these. The theme dress ups, the theme days, they are during breakfast. Your instinct there is correct. The staff just wear their theme wear during morning assembly and breakfast. Some troops have enjoyed wearing their theme day gear all day. That's great. We love that. It's fun and it's hilarious. So you're welcome to do that. But the staff only wear it for morning assembly and breakfast. Kathy, the cots don't have a mattress. We don't provide mattresses. I think the cots are really comfortable. I don't feel the need to bring a sleeping pad when I have stayed on the cots, but it's really up to you and your comfort level. The cots are also, they're large cots. They're not like little teeny tiny ones. I'm 5'8" and I fit perfectly fine on the cots. Oh, Tori.
So a question, or Bijan, you want to take that? Okay, so on the unit classes swim classification form, it says who can put it on there. And I believe it does need to be an aquatic supervisor, whether that's done with a lifeguard at a local pool or someone that has aquatic supervision training. But it does say it specifically on that form, and we can pull it up in just a moment. I can get you the answer.
While Tori is pulling that up, there is a question in the chat from Lords Baker. To cook meals, you mentioned charcoal will be provided. Yes, charcoal is provided, but are we allowed to bring a stove? You are allowed to bring a propane stove if you would like. That is totally up to you. And how often or when you use it, also totally up to you. We do not provide propane though. We cannot provide you with propane. So if you bring a stove, make sure you bring your own fuel.
As a kind of side note, the meal that you're cooking is a foil pack meal, which you probably could cook on a stove, but you can't cook the ingredients per se on a stove. It's meant to be all cooked together on charcoal. Yeah. So yes, but know that the meal that's provided is intended to be in a foil pack.
I put it on the question, but for our question on the unit swim classification form, that person needs to be an aquatics instructor, a BSA lifeguard, a BSA swimming and water rescue, or another lifeguard or swimming instructor to administer that test for the unit classification form. And then we had another question on delay of fees. So as soon as you can get those fees in, please do. If it's June 3rd, that is okay. We set our timeline back a little bit further so that we can make sure we know who's actually coming to camp and who's paid, so that when we're ordering food and finalizing program supplies and whatnot, we have payment to do those things. If you have any more questions, please go ahead and put those in the chat now. So we have a question on the pre-event screening. Sarah, or I'll put it in. So this is from BSA National. So if you want to scan the QR code now, you can, or I'm going to pull it up right now and drop it in the chat as well. This is coming from officescouting.org. And I'm going to post it right now into the chat. Come on. And so if you could just do this before they come to camp. The questions are based off of within the last 24 hours. Have you had any of these symptoms? So I just posted that in the chat. Okay, question on how will the scouts be able to get other merit badges signed off? So there is an open period from 4 to 5 where there will be a few merit badges offered. If you have scouts that need to maybe finish like communication and they have a partial, and there's opportunities for that from 4 to 5. If they just need a few more requirements done, that's an option for them that way, to get some of those merit badges signed off. Other questions? So we offer one of the citizenship in the I believe it is citizenship in the community that we offer. Let me confirm right now.
For our anonymous attendee, for our foil pack dinners, they usually cook a ground beef patty along with a series of vegetables, potatoes, onions, bell peppers. We also provide them an apple if you want to bake an apple over the fire. Am I forgetting anything in that foil pack dinner, Tori? I don't think so.
Veggies, potatoes, the patty, and then dessert is the cinnamon apple.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I lied. We do citizenship in the nation and world and not community. I had them switched up.
We're still working on finalizing evening programs. So I'm planning on getting a list of those posted onto the website within the next 2 weeks. So it'll be relatively close, but you should know, just that we're all like super clear on this, you will not be able to sign up for evening program. You'll not be able to sign up for those dinner activities until you've arrived in camp. So evening program signups are happening in camp on the week that you arrive. Okay, we're not doing that ahead of time on Black Pug. How much money? So how much money for program tickets depends on specifically what programs your scouts want to do. Evening programs that cost money include shooting sports and certain handicraft programs.
And ice cream.
Oh, and ice cream. Got it. If they want to make ice cream. Yeah. So Tori, can you go over the cost for program tickets?
Yeah, so tickets are $2 each. For the rifle range, it's 1 ticket for 10 shots. For shotgun, it is 2 tickets for 5 shots. For handicraft, for tie-dye, it is $5. For make your own ice cream, it is $4. And so those are just based on the cost of goods. And so I would say if they're looking at doing evening programs that have a cost, which are those shooting sports, the STEM activity, and the handicraft activity, they average about $5 an activity. But there's also plenty of activities that don't have a cost. Hikes, zip line, climbing, that do not have an associated cost. It's just if you're getting an item, or if it takes an item, like in shooting sports, then there is a cost associated with it. Any other questions? Got one.
Hi, yeah, so ice will be available. You can contact Angie Sauceda about ice, or our head cook, Carmen, will be administering ice to anyone who requests it at camp. You should know that you can ask for it and we will be able to give you bags of ice, but we can't give campers access to the ice machine. So only kitchen staff are allowed to touch the ice and give ice. So in order to get it, you're going to want to go to the dining hall and ask one of our kitchen staff for ice. Yeah. These are all great questions. If anyone has any more questions, please do. Oh, yes. So most merit badges, with a couple of exceptions, You can like kind of switch around if you need to when you arrive at camp. Merit badges with really strict class caps include shooting sports, high adventure, and aquatics merit badges. And those have really strict class caps because we have really strict camper to safety personnel ratios. So for example, we can only have so many campers at the pool depending on the number of lifeguards we have, right? So if an aquatics merit badge class is full, we can't necessarily add on a bunch of extra campers because our lifeguards can only observe and keep safe a certain number of swimmers at a time. For evening program, all of those will be added at camp, and that goes through both you working with your SPL to sign up patrols or your entire troop for certain evening programs. Hope that helps with that a little bit. If you have specific questions about getting into or changing merit badge classes ahead of time, just shoot us an email at summercamp@ssrlv.org.
And along with that, Bijan will be available Sundays of camp. And he can help change classes in Black Pug so that y'all see it on your report, and it will come up for easily for Blue Card Party on Monday as well. We had a question come in about how scouts can contact us. So that email that we keep on referring to, summercamp@ssrlv.org, they are more than welcome to email that. They should be following YP and CC an adult. Summercamp@ssrlv is checked by 5 of us. Either myself, Sarah, Jacob, Bijan, or Justin. And so depending on what the question type is, then we will respond back to it and answer them. Any other questions? Okay, I think that wraps it up for us. Once again, we want to thank you for joining us for our May Down the Hill meeting. This once we have this recording done, then we will post this to the web. We ask that if you have SPLs that have questions, this is a great resource for them to watch. We talked a lot about things that are happening in camp that they will help be responsible for, as well as your other troop leadership. So thank you all for coming. If you have questions, email summercamp@ssrlv.org, and we'll see you either June 19th or June 23rd. We'll be coming from you live from the Valley at that time. Thanks, y'all.